There is a mischievous pleasure that comes with many men fondling themselves. Many men have this mischievous pleasure and this perverse pleasure from doing so. And not only fondling themselves, but of fondling their own sense of spirituality. They have this feeling that the more that they, tickle their own mind, so to speak, that the better things are going to be for their spirit in the long run. When in reality, it's not about tickling your mind. It's about, are you able to discipline your mind? Are you able to really harness the spirit of discipline into your being? Or are you going to let it fall by the wayside? Are you going to let these voluptuous temptations take hold of you and create this sense of false urgency in your mind so that you go out into the world and end up becoming that which you're seeking to let go of? This is going to be something that I think many men are going to be able to relate to on semen retention. And by the way, welcome to another episode of the Semen Retention Sunday on the Regal Change account. And I want to talk about how it's okay to be healthy and horny at the same time. You can be both, especially on semen retention. It's okay to be horny. Okay, I don't know who told you that it's not okay to be horny on semen retention, or that you're not going to get these urges every now and again, but you're going to get them sometimes, all right? It's not a big deal, though. It's not really something that you need to placate yourself to and to disregard your own sense of well-being with either. There are a lot of men that shame themselves for having these kinds of feelings of lust, and I think that that's the wrong approach. And the reason that I think it's the wrong approach is because when's the last time you repressed your emotions and it ended up being for the better? It ended up being something really positive for yourself. I'll wait. You see, it's not about repressing, it's about accepting. And when you accept something, you're able to get the vibration of reason and acceptance. And if anybody has not seen David Hawkins' consciousness map of vibrations, I highly recommend you look that up because it's a very interesting map. Do I adhere to it 110%? I don't think so, but I definitely can relate to it, and I can definitely see the science behind it. Because a lot of people don't think that frequency stuff is a thing, and it's like, this is exactly what we're witnessing in the society right now as a whole. The heaviness of the society right now is just, it's not very palpable at all. It's everywhere, but it's not really fun to listen to or to pay attention to or to be involved with, because it seems like the society is just being gaslit again into something very, very mischievous as well, very dark. And it seems to me like there's this disguise. Oh, there's a lot of bugs out today. There seems to me like there's this disguise of people pretending to be on our team. Now, who's our team? It's God's team. It's pretending to be on God's team. Meanwhile, things are just getting very strange. Very, very strange, and I'm not quite sure what to think about it myself. And again, I don't have all of the answers, but when it comes to semen retention, boy oh boy. I mean, I have years of experience at this point, and of course you're going to be horny sometimes. Of course you're going to be, but to repress yourself, to repress anything about what you're feeling, I think is a mistake. And the reason for that is because the more that you repress yourself, the more that you let go of who you actually are and try to mold yourself into something that you're not, the more you're going to have the proclivity toward moving into the mouth of a lion. Now, I mean that metaphorically as well as maybe even literally to some degree, because you're going to go into some dangerous places in your mind if you repress yourself. And if you say, okay, this door in my mind, I'm not going in that door. I'm not allowing myself to go in there. It's like, well, you can at least acknowledge the door is there, though. You don't want to pretend like the door is invisible. You don't want to pretend that there's maybe a dragon under the couch. I've seen this in family dynamics. So many family dynamics where it's like, there's a dragon under the couch, guys. Like there's a big animal under the couch and we're not addressing it. And sometimes I think the reason people don't want to really address some of these things sometimes is because they know that with the addressing of it comes, well, now you kind of have to solve the issue. And a lot of men would rather just repress themselves in semen retention than go out and commit all of these acts of lust and craziness and disgust, only to hate themselves more the next day, instead of actually addressing that maybe they're repressing their emotions. Maybe there's something that they can use to transmute this energy into. Now, I don't like a lot of these manifestation people that say, oh, you just have to manifest it into something and transmute it into something more. Yes, they're technically correct, but the way that they go about it, they don't tell you how to do that. Okay, I'm going to tell you how to do that. You have to change the way you think about life and yourself. Instead of phrasing, like, okay, let's take this for example. I remember there was a guy I was working with a while ago in my one-on-one consultations and sessions, and he was in my mentorship program, and he was having a really hard time with lust. He just couldn't go even a week without wanting to see a woman. And I said, well, how do you frame this in your mind? Like, what exactly do you tell yourself? Like, is it bad? Like, what do you say to yourself in those situations? It's bad for me to want to go see a woman? Or, like, what do you say? He's like, well, I don't know. I guess I just shame myself. It's like, okay, well, can you name what it is you say? Can you put it into a phrase? And he couldn't really put it into a phrase. And I said, well, look, well then, instead of, if you can't notice what that is that you're actually saying, maybe start to change the way you think. Maybe instead of saying, or just shaming yourself, say something like, it's okay to have these urges, and I'm going to do this instead. So instead of saying, it's okay to have these urges, but I'm going to do this, now you're saying, it's not a matter of this or that, or this but that. It's a matter of this and that. So you acknowledge what's actually happening inside of you, and then you say, and I'm going to do this, because then you're accepting yourself. That's, if you want to talk about a thought algorithm of acceptance, that is it. Okay, you want to create a mode of mind where you're able to, okay, it's this and this. And we're doing an authentic communications class this Saturday in the Regal Change Academy. And these are the kinds of things that we're going to learn how to express more so, even more deeply, because I statements are going to be very important. Anybody that doesn't know what an I statement is, I statements are basically you say something about yourself that is a fact. I am confident. And even if you don't necessarily believe it, right? Like maybe you don't really believe that you're confident, or maybe you don't really believe that you don't have social anxiety. Maybe instead you can say, I am confident and I don't have social anxiety. If you just start to tell yourself that, if you just start to tell yourself that and tell yourself that and tell yourself that. Now, number one, on semen retention, social anxiety kind of goes out the door. I don't remember the last time I've been like anxious to be around people. I was speaking at an event that I was invited to last year in June, and I wasn't really nervous. Like, I was a little nervous, but it was like nervous excitement, and it wasn't really like a paralyzing social anxiety. It was more of like an exciting social anxiety. And even then, I don't even tell myself I believe in anxiety or I believe in depression, because even though it might be true that stuff might exist, it's not beneficial for me to believe that. It's not beneficial for me to say, oh yeah, I can get depressed or I can get anxiety. Why is it not beneficial? Because then it's a matter of, well, I'm going to just hinder my ability to actually articulate myself and express myself authentically, like what we're talking about with the Regal Change Academy Authentic Communications class. And it's not to say that if it does happen, you should shame yourself. It's just that your mindset, it's kind of like a, how do I describe this mindset? It's kind of like, how do I describe this? It's kind of like a water boundary. It's like a boundary of water around you that inside is solid and outside is solid, but you can kind of maneuver the boundary how you need to fluctuate, because the mind is something that goes beyond the material, right? In alchemy, they talk a lot about how the Philosopher's Stone shows you how to transcend matter into spirit. Okay, well, how do you do that? Well, with your mind. Okay, there's a reason why Jesus commands us to love the Lord thy God with all your body, with all your heart, and with all your soul. It's because that's what gets you to the spirit and to live in the spiritual realm all the time. I am constantly in the spiritual domain. I am. I know it. I don't need to believe it. I just know it. It's a knowing, right? It's like, I just know God. I don't need to believe in God anymore, because it's just a knowing. I just have a relationship with him. I know that I have a relationship with him. And this is freeing, but it's also a bit terrifying as well. And on semen retention, that's the biggest thing that you're going to have to recognize, is like, it's okay to accept these parts of yourself that maybe you don't want to accept, because it's going to help you grow closer to God in the long term and what you really want in life. Because it's a matter of discerning how we're going to move properly, what we're going to do. And at the beginning of this video, I showed you guys like me, hitting the target, right? With the bow and arrow. I'm on the war path. Like, the semen retention journey in some sense is a war path, but now even more than ever, I'm on the war path. And it's because of everything that's happening in the world. In some ways, I'm still lamenting the fall of the Western society. I'm not a doomer by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I hate doomers. However, I don't really see a civil solution to what's going on yet. I still don't. I've been asking this for a couple days now. I don't know the civil solution, and I don't know anybody that's been able to, maybe other than like one or two members in the Regal Change Academy group that we have, I don't know anybody that's offered like a sincere solution to what's going on. And if you're not on semen retention as a man right now, and you're not in a long-term relationship, I genuinely believe you're hindering your possibilities for success and closeness to God, and maybe even your salvation. I don't want to go too far because, you know what? Screw it. Yeah, I would say even your salvation. I would say even your salvation, if you're not on semen retention and you're not in a long-term relationship and you're not close to God, your salvation is on the line, buddy. It is. And I'm not really one to concern myself with other people's salvation anymore, because it's just, what can I do? Like, I can give the message, but that's all that I can do. I can only give a message. I can try to shake you into being awake, but if you're pretending to be asleep, there's nothing that I can do about that. I can throw water on you. I can light a fire under your butt. I can give you all the inspiration in the world that I have to give. But if you don't want to change for yourself, what am I supposed to do? So I concern myself primarily with my own salvation, but I suppose warning people of their salvation and the possibilities therein is going to be, I would say, fruitful for the people that need to hear it. And look, don't beat yourself up though if you can't stop watching corn. Okay, don't beat yourself up. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge why that desire is there. Look at the foundation. Look at your triggers and establish a proper mode of being to move through the world and execute it. Okay, it's as simple as that. You don't need to try too hard. But I will say that in my experience, people who don't have their lust under control, especially men, in my experience, these are some of the most dangerous people, because some of them, they're not even a danger to you, they're just a danger to themselves. But some of the other people, they're just so weak and sensitive, and I don't mean to say this in a degrading way, it's just the way that it is. They're so weak and insensitive. Well, they're insensitive to you, but they're sensitive to themselves. And in that, it makes them super weak-minded. They're oriented toward a state of weakness and emotionality. And they only know how to think. Like, they don't actually think. They just emote. Maybe there's a proper term for that. I don't know. But there's because it's not like emoting. Is that the proper term? Perhaps. But they're just emoting platitudes. They're just emoting ideologies. They're just emoting ways to make themselves out to be the victim. And these are dangerous people to be around. These are going to be the kinds of people that when crap hits the fan, you do not want them around you. You do not. And honestly, I'm to the point now to where it's life or death. It's life or death. And it's always been that way. It's just more pronounced now. So we all have decisions to make. And we all have ways in which we have to acknowledge that things are not going the way that maybe we'd like them to go. But we can do something about it. We can control what we can control. We can be stoic about this. We can have this sense of righteousness, and we can choose righteousness above all else. And peace and love above all else as well, through Christ. So, with all that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful for you. I hope everybody has a blessed day. I pray you steer clear of spiritual deception. And I pray that if you're looking for a community where we are godlike savages for the men, and the women are warm, inviting, feminine, and empathetic. If you're looking for a community like that, the Regal Change Academy is it. And you know what's crazy is this academy, it is a survival of the fittest academy. It's crazy. Like, I've never seen so much spiritual attacks in spiritual warfare in a community online before. But sure enough, that just comes with the territory. Because as somebody in the academy said, the more Christ-like you become, the more your life becomes like Christ. So, with all that being said, peace be with you all, and until next time.